Hello, everyone. I'm Colin Tester of WrestleZone.com, joined by Tony Deppen. Tony, how you doing today?
A little hot. I just got done mowing my lawn, and now I'm going to the gym. So busy, busy, busy.
Busy you are. This upcoming weekend on Saturday, June 18th, you'll be challenging Jon Moxley for the GCW World Championship at GCW. You wouldn't understand. Definitely a big match. I want to talk all about that. But first, just in a more general sense, definitely want to talk about your run in GCW. I can't call it a run. From what I can recall, you've been involved with it for pretty much since the start. So just what does it mean to you to kind of be in this position now after you've really put in the work and been with GCW for a long time and watched it grow?
So I feel like this is more or less of just because I wrestle a lot of the younger kids, and then I randomly get a bone thrown to me. Like, here, Tony, here's for all the work you've been doing. So I feel like that's what this might be. It's just like, hey, you've been putting the work in with GCW. Now let's give you a reward for it, and the reward's not much bigger than me and Jon Moxley, and since I've been to GCW, that's my biggest match to date. So, like, I've wrestled for the title before against Gage, but this is a whole new level right now.
Does that feeling that it's kind of being thrown a bone, does that give you kind of a chip on your shoulder or anything? Does it motivate you? How does that kind of impact your mindset heading into the match?
It does give me a chip on the shoulder, that's for sure, and I don't want people to think that I'm coming off as like ungrateful, because I am very grateful for the opportunities that I've been given at GCW. Come Saturday, I'm really going to show Brett why he's making a mistake on just randomly doing it every so often. Like, I feel like I have the ability and the talent to be put in this position more than just once every few months.
I mean, you certainly do. We've seen you face a number of really top stars before this match here. I remember earlier this year, one of the bigger matches I can recall you've been in GCW was facing Thunder Rosa, the reigning AW Women's World Champion. And we have seen you face a number of top stars here. But this is definitely a big breakout opportunity. I do want to mention I just mentioned the Thunder Rosa match, but another big one that was at the World on GCW, the Hammerstein Show in January. That was definitely a big landmark event for GCW. And again, as someone that's been with the promotion for quite a while now, what that mean to you to kind of have the promotion reach that kind of a new height to be at such a historic venue?
Yeah, that was because I remember wrestling with GCW in front of literally like 25 people. It was my first show I ever did with them, literally 25 people, and I'm not exaggerating. And to see them go from that, just selling out the Hammerstein before any matches are announced, was just like insane to me. And like, I didn't even know if like what my match was going to be or what I was going to be doing. And I would be lying if I said that I wouldn't have been extremely mad if I weren't on the show. But thankfully I was, and it didn't go as according to plan. That's in such a like historic building. It's like with GCW, I was able to compete at the Hammerstein Ballroom and Corrigan Hall in Japan. So you don't get much better than that.
You mentioned traveling to Japan, and we've seen you definitely travel a lot more lately now than maybe even a year ago. Obviously, things have changed. Travel restrictions have definitely opened up here. You recently wrestled for Rev Pro, and I wanted to ask you about that experience because, again, as I said, it is very different now. Things are more open, and you can wrestle. Anybody can wrestle all over the world. So, have you found that to be, I imagine it's an exciting thing to be able to kind of have more flexibility, more mobility, just to go around and go to different places to wrestle?
Yeah, prior to COVID shutting the world down, I was supposed to be in the UK for an entire month, and I was going to do a lot of other countries as well. But then I didn't know I was ever going to get back over there. And to me, wrestling in England was almost as important to me as wrestling in Japan, because I'm a very big person in the world of sports and the British style wrestling. So I was very happy that Rev Pro hit me up to go over. And I was very thankful that I was able to be there with Ninja Mac, who's another GCW person as well. So it was nice to be there with somebody else that I know, and I wasn't completely alone. So for there, I did 3 main events out of the 5 days I was there. And I main evented the first night. I wrestled Michael Oku, which is their cruiserweight champion. And I guess the promoter liked us so much that the next night I wrestled Robbie X, And they're like, main event. Then the next night, I guess he liked that even more. And then he's like, oh, just so you know, when I got there, he's like, Tony, your main event. I was like, are you serious again? He goes, well, you gave me sold Gabriel Kidd in the main event. And I had a lot of fun with that match because it was more wrestling than anything. Like it wasn't a wrestling style that you'd see in the States. It was like roll controlled and real slow. And I had so much fun with it. Like it was very relaxed to me instead of worrying about, doing the most insane stuff all over the place. And because I did so well over there, I will be going back over. I can't say the dates yet, but I'll be going back over there, and I'll also be doing I'll be checking another country off the list when I go over next time. So
That's awesome. And again, it sounds like, really you're on this great run now that what literally wasn't really possible a year ago. Rev Pro being one, you worked a New Japan for New Japan Strong. You worked a show for them in Philadelphia. You had to face Minoru Suzuki, one of the biggest legends in the game right now. I have to imagine that was a pretty big match for you because again, just given his track record and his reputation in the wrestling business. So what was that experience like?
So I knew I was supposed to do New Japan for a while. Because some people were talking to me about it, like, hey, we want you to do this. I was like, okay, cool. And I was under the impression that it was going to be me, Dickinson, Homicide, and Brody versus some other person, like a farewell to violence and limit, essentially. And I figured that's what it's going to be. And then it was right after Joe and Suzuki had their match on AEW, and I got a tag. And they're like, oh, congratulations, Tony. And I was like, what? And there's a guy on Twitter, Tom's Customs. He always makes fake match announcements.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what it was because somebody didn't quote tweet New Japan. They just saved the picture and then tweeted themselves. So I was like, what the hell is this? So I go to New Japan's page and I just like, wow. Like that when everybody else found it is when I found out. Like I remember sitting there looking at I go, what the fuck? And my wife goes, what? And I'm just staring. She's like, what? I was like, remember I thought this was space? She's like, yeah. I was like, this is what it is. And she's like, oh, damn. So for my debut to be against New Japan's one of their top guys, I was like, okay, that says something. And I'm hoping that, things happen again with New Japan because I had a lot of fun working there. And I love everybody there that, they're super nice to me. Like I didn't feel like anybody was out, slandering me like I've been in some locker rooms where I feel like somebody's talking about me. But just like working with Suzuki, like the dude, he's a legend for a reason. And after working with him, I understand why the guy's a freaking legend. Like he is so good at everything he does. And then I talked to Rocky after the show and Rocky's like, Tony, Suzuki put you over huge, just so you know. And I was like, well, that's good to know.
I mean, that's obviously a big deal. Again, giving Suzuki's just track record, his previous success, his reputation, everything. So it's great to know that the match went well for you, and hopefully you'll be able to do more with New Japan moving forward here. Another big experience he had was working on AEW Dark Elevation, facing John Silver pretty recently. That was definitely another big match as well. Because obviously, anytime you get a match in AEW Dark or Dark Elevation, it's kind of like at the very least, it's an experience. It's an opportunity to wrestle, in front of a bigger audience, digitally at least. And then for many, it often turns into a bigger opportunity. But at the very least, at least as a one-off, it's definitely a big opportunity. As well as your experience with that, like working for AEW, even in that capacity.
So I was supposed to do AEW Dark in Philadelphia as well the week prior, but they require just so this to everybody that they still require COVID tests. Like they're very strict on it, and it's great because they're looking out for everyone. So, but my results, they're like, you need to be here at 1:00, yada, yada, yada. I was like, okay. And my COVID results didn't get there. Like I drove down to Philadelphia hoping they'd get there before the time deadline. And it was like 1:30, never came. So I was like, okay, I went to a local brewery in Philadelphia, to drown my sorrows. And my results came at like 3:00. So I was like, well, that's great. But then I was supposed to schedule to do the Philadelphia or the Baltimore ones anyways. So originally I was supposed to be in a different match. But I know a lot of people there. And somebody's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, well, I'm going to make sure you're doing something. So they made sure that like I got my match with John. who I've wrestled a few times now, and I was also supposed to do the run-in with the Wardload stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but after I went out there, you know, that's prime Ring of Honor territory. You know,
Of
like
course.
that's where we were running, and I get pulled aside by the extra coordinator, and they're like, "Hey, you're not going out there." I was like, "Why?" And they're like, "Dude, when you went out there, they popped." He's like, "You're a Ring of Honor guy, and we don't really want to put you through it." Like, they didn't want to devalue me, which
Right.
you know, like,
Right.
I get it, and I have a lot of respect for worrying about me as well. Like that's great, but also I was like, I wanted the extra payday, so it didn't really bother me because I'm a type of guy that's like, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Like, there's nothing beneath me. I've been doing this for 17 years of my life. You know, I realize that not everyone's gonna be John Cena. You know, and I think people need to start looking at that. Like, we're not all be John Cena, and it takes a collective unit to make a card really great. So like I was like, whatever. But then when I wrestled John, I got pulled to the side by, you know, a lot of people that do agenting, and they're like, hey, you know, like you didn't do a lot, but like what you did, it was perfect. Like everything you did, it meant something, and you didn't overshadow anything. I was like, okay, cool. So like, and obviously I didn't get signed or anything out of it, and that's the only time I've been there. But it's probably not going to be the last time I do it. You know, I do have kids, so like I can't just always like 3 hours. I would drive a max of 3 hours to those shows if I could, but like if they're asking me to drive like 4.5 hours, I just physically can't do that, you know, with my kids.
No, that makes sense. But I'm glad that you had a positive experience the first time around, and here's hoping that you have more of them moving forward here. Something I've wanted to ask you for a while. What is the best theme song in professional wrestling, and why is it "We Built the City" by Starship? I've absolutely loved that you use that song ever since I started watching GCW. It's like it's the coolest thing.
So literally, I was watching like some of the first matches I ever had the other night, and so this is from like 2009, 2010, and I still have this. I've never changed my theme once ever.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, and my wife goes, "Wait, you still use the same song?" I go, "Yeah, I've never changed it." And I chose it because Rolling Stones put out the top like 50 most hated songs or worst songs ever created, and number one was "We Built the City."
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to use this because it's like ranked as the worst song in the world, so I guess people must hate it. And I got like 5 years in, and people were just like enjoying it. And I said to someone, I was like, oh, I'm going to change it to something else, and they're like, you can't change it. I was like, okay, and that was freaking like almost a decade ago, and I still have it. And I never thought it was going to be as popular as it is with the fans. Like, I've had people singing it, you know, people going nuts. And now people are always like, whenever I hear it, I think of you. Like, so if that song ever gets popular again, I want royalties from them, man. Like, I put in the work. I've been pimping their song out more than they probably have been.
For sure, and that's one of my favorite parts of GCW shows when you come into the ring, having that song play. So definitely look forward to hearing it this week. I want to face Jon Moxley, and just to circle back because we had some connection news earlier. You're facing Jon Moxley for the GCW World Title Saturday. GCW, you wouldn't understand, in New York City. Big match. Again, what does it mean to you to be in this match against a talent like Moxley, challenging for the GCW World Title, given your connection with the promotion?
See, here's the thing. Like, I have everything to lose and everything to gain from this. Moxley literally, like, if he loses and he loses the belt, well, I'm going to see him on TV next week. Like, he's really got nothing to lose off this. Like, and like me winning this match and winning the title, it would probably ensure that I get way more bookings even outside of GCW, because a victory over Moxley and having a really good match with Moxley would elevate me to a certain like level that I feel like I need to get at. And I think Moxley is the perfect opportunity for me to do that. Like, this is my home fed. I helped carry this company through pandemic. I helped carry this company through the deathmatch phases when nobody wanted to come and wrestle at GCW. The only people who wanted to come wrestle at GCW were deathmatch workers. But if people like KTB and myself we put the light on GCW for people like, hey, they actually have wrestlers there. And then everybody started to want to come here when, like I wrestled Jungle Boy. I wrestled, I don't want to say his name because he just had some legal issues, but somebody, like he got released from NXT, him, and like I highlighted these people through GCW, and people then wanted to come work for GCW. I legitimately just had somebody message me, hey, I really want to work you at GCW. I ignored it instantly because I was like, that's the stupidest thing somebody could say to me, because I don't want to, it shows you don't give a shit about me or GCW's product. So like, I helped put that light on there. And I don't care if it makes me sound selfish, because it's the truth. I'm a very selfless person in the ring, but I feel like what I've helped offer GCW is not the reason why they're in the point where they are and the popularity they are, but I am one of the pillars of it.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't have GCW what it is today without a KTB or myself. Like, we're the ones that eat shit, and we're the ones that we keep eating it, but we just do it, and we're happy to be there. Compared to some people I know that like they'd get mad if they had to do this or that, and I'm just like, Brett asked me to do something, I always go to like, what do you want out of this match? He tells me, I go, okay, this is what it's going to be then. And then I also, in doing that, like, it doesn't devalue me, but it sometimes hurts the amount of bookings I get, because I'm wrestling the younger kids, and the whole purpose is that to get them over with their moves. So they're doing everything to me. So they're the ones shining. And when somebody watches, like, you can almost say it's like almost a glorified job guy, but I'm winning. So I don't know. But like I said, I never want anybody to take this the wrong way, but it's just the way I feel with constantly wrestling younger kids, and you get 8 minutes, and that, and 6.5 minutes of that is them. And if people don't agree with me, I don't really care, because it's the way I feel, and it's the way I feel because of the way that I do things.
There's no doubt you put in the work with GCW here, and now it's about to pay off with a big title match Saturday. GCW, you wouldn't understand, against Jon Moxley. Definitely looking forward. You can order on Fight for those of you who want to check it out. Highly recommend it. I know I will. Tony, where can people find you on social media, Twitter, and everything?
So don't bother with my Facebook, because I won't add you. I have like 600 people sitting in my friend request box. I hate Facebook. I use it for my business, like because I have a brewery outside of wrestling. I own a brewery with my friends, so I use it for that and family stuff only. So don't ever bother me there. But you can follow me on Twitter. It's Tony_Deppen. I won't follow you on there, but I'll interact with you, because I don't know. I just don't care. I genuinely hate social media. If it weren't for wrestling, I probably wouldn't have it. It's too negative. And then Instagram, it's Deppen. I just post pictures of beer, my kids, and wrestling. So
it's a good combo.
Yeah, the trifecta.
Well, that said, Tony, I wish you the very best of luck this weekend and moving forward. And I thank you for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.